Welcome back to the GSTL. I'm Wolf. With me is Kaldor, and it is time for a very important match today. It is going to be FXOpen against New Star Hossa. How are you feeling today, Kaldor?
Pretty good, actually. Really looking forward to today's games. It should be pretty interesting. Yesterday's matches were already really intense, and NS Hossa against FXO promises to be quite the game.
Yeah, it certainly will be. I cannot imagine actually what we could potentially see today. I mean, these two teams I feel are so evenly matched. They both have a lot of depth in their lineups. And, you know, some would argue that FXOpen players have a little bit more experience, but, you know, NS Hossa they have so many good players who aren't top-tier players. Then, for that reason, I think they might be able to take this match today.
The thing, if you have a run, if you basically start in the day, you feel good, the first game goes well, and then suddenly you're the king of the world and you can take down any opponent. That's something that we've seen in the past. It might happen today. And you're definitely right. We, of course, have players like Lenok who have been runner-ups in the GSL Code S, but NS Hossa definitely has a really deep lineup, a very good roster, and, well, I'm actually really happy about their first player.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. FXOpen will be starting out with Gumiho today, and Tassadar is starting again for NS Hossa. They really like to send him out early, and he has had a lot of time to prepare for Gumiho. He's known his opponents from Gumiho for quite some time now, and this may be a time where we see Tassadar actually play the late game against Gumiho, but on the other hand, because he's known his opponent and known the map for so long, he can actually do an all-in strategy as well.
Tassadar to me is still the Korean mobster. I think if he grows a little bit of a mustache, then he would look like an Italian mobster. I could definitely see him with a pizza in one hand and a gun in the other.
Actually, oh my god. Tassadar either fights against the Conclave man, or he is an Italian mobster with a pizza and a gun.
That guy is so cool. I really like him.
That is so cool. Let's take a look at our team information here for today. NS Hossa against FXOpen. Race distribution here, you can see it. Look at NS Hossa's pie chart, man. If Tassadar would serve me that kind of pie and a pizza box, even if he didn't have a gun, I would take it, because look at that. That's so well distributed.
Yeah, on the other hand, we have FXOpen with a little bit more Zerg heavy, and here we have their place with the highest win rates, and of course also the most contributing player, Jakji for NS Hossa and Lucky for FXOpen.
Yeah, actually, both of them have taken both sides of that. We don't have a split. And Lucky, you know, this guy has actually been great in the GSTL in the past, but as recently hasn't looked as dominant. Now, here is our win ranking, by the way. We mentioned that Koka is on the rise yesterday. He's taken the 4th place spot. Right now, 3 players tied for first with the amount of total wins, but the highest win rate still goes to Symbol.
Yeah, definitely. Symbol with 9-1, and he still has the potential of taking additional maps. He was not able to take this game in Code S, but maybe he's able to just improve or just secure his top spot in the ranking.
Yeah, and this is... I can't think about anything else right now. This match, this first one, is going to be exciting because I really feel like yesterday, this one's going to kind of set the precedent. We saw JYP win yesterday, then take an early lead, and JYP is a tough opponent to have against you. You know, if you actually have someone like this, like Gumiho, who's really strong, has a lot of good individual league results, but also performs well in Team League, if he gets on a roll, it may be difficult to stop him.
That's the beauty of Team League. If you have this dynamic, and even players who you would never thought could actually take a lot of games, if they have the momentum going for them, then they can beat everyone. We've seen crazy all kills this season. And well, here we have a quick look at our 2 teams.
Yep, starting out with NS Hossa coming out here looking good. And look at Freaky.
Yeah, definitely. Freaky and Seal. To me, they still look like brothers.
They really do. I can see that.
It's the Zerg tag team.
Exactly. They're 2 sides of a Zerg coin, I would say.
I'm down, buddy. I'm down. Tag me in.
Well, jacket or not, man, these players are going to be so difficult to face. We're going to take a look at their team's distribution by race, take a look at their entire roster of players.
Where's actually... Ah, there they are, okay. I'm a little... Ah, okay, there he is. It was for a second I was just missing a few of the players and was trying to spot them on the bench, and for the life of it I couldn't find them. Hiding in plain sight once again.
Exactly.
Right in front of you.
Well, here we are starting with our pros. We have Sage, Tassadar, San, and Brave.
And the Terran players with Sculpt, Jakji, Sting, and Salvation.
Salvation kind of been a secret guy for a while. And our two Zergs, like I said, two sides of a coin. Seal and Freaky, very strong Zerg players. There they are.
But to tell you the truth, I can't see Freaky.
I'm looking for Jakji right now.
Jakji is sitting to the top right.
Oh, okay.
But I can't see
There's
Freaky.
Son. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, he's not here.
No, Freaky's not there, I don't believe. Well, actually, I can't tell.
That's Seal.
Yeah, see, Seal's got the... Yeah, I don't... It may be one of these things where I'm like, well, he's got a different hairstyle today, or he's is or isn't wearing glasses.
No.
I'm pretty sure he's not there, yeah.
No, he's not on the bench. I was wondering that earlier. I was actually looking for Seal. That's the one that I couldn't find. He was right there. But, well, here is their opponent. Yes, FXOpen.
And they are young. Indeed. Choya coming out, of course, from the right side there. Very strong lineup of players. Gone through a lot of changes over the past year. This team's still holding strong.
Lucky always a little bit nervous when he performs. You just can see them, and this is one of the things that he struggles with. But he's getting a lot better with it. Dealing with the pressure is one of the things that you have to learn when you want to compete in the GSL and sitting in the booth. It's quite a problem for a lot of players.
It really is. There are a lot of players that have a lack of experience. Lucky's not one of those, but there are a few players like Choya, for example, was really notable for being nervous in the booth, had to yell or scream to calm himself down, sometimes singing even.
And well, here is their lineup. Let's have a look at these players. We are starting it off with the Zergs, Lucky Lenok, Sirius, and of course FXO Whale.
Yep. Whale, very strong Zerg. Now here are process Choya, Tier, and Weekend.
I like how they have Choya now in it with a new picture of the coach.
I like that.
The Terrans.
Yeah, of course our Terrans here, Gumiho the best, and ASD. ASD starting last time. Great lineup of players there on that bench. Looking at and good spirits as well.
I still have a problem with watching Choya dressing like this. He looks too serious. This is like Choya's this big troll, this huge troll. It's like if you address Ace in a suit. That just doesn't work for me, because when I came to Korea and when I talk to them, they're always such big trolls, and it's so weird. So I mean, I like that Choya is taking the responsibility now and that he is trying to fill this role, but at the same time, it's just so weird to see him like this. It's really funny, and then he turns around and pulls some kind of weird joke, and you're like, ah, that's the Choya I know.
Yeah, he certainly has not changed, only in looks. Well, our first two players are about to be shown to us. We are going to take a look. We already mentioned who they are, but here is the first Protoss that we will see. It is going to be Eneshosa Tassadar. Looks like he could be a mob boss for sure. This guy will
Especially
kill
with
you.
his smirk. Right before he kills you, he's like, yeah, you're going down.
He will kill you in any way he deems necessary. You may Void Rail on you. He might go for a DT build. He may hit a +2 armor, Charge Zealot, Guardian Shield, timing attack off 6 to 8 gateways, man, on Tal'Darim Altar. You don't know what this guy is going to do.
I love the keyboard with the orange keys.
I like that as well. Looks pretty cool.
I like it when players do this.
That's really creative. I have a way of showing some style.
I'm starting again to picture him with a mustache.
I can see that.
Mustache and a little bit of a different haircut, and he is immediately Italian Mafia boss.
Well, his opponent, starting for FXOpen, is the Towel Terran. It's going to be Gumiho, formerly a random player. First random player to ever play in the GSTL. Now one of the top Terrans, currently in Code S. And this guy has actually, he has made it so far in several seasons of Code S. Never had his final spot yet, but his Team League performance has been pretty solid as well, I would say.
It's definitely going to be a very cool match, and the map, by the way, is Metropolis. It's today's first map, and well, we'll see which team is able to take the lead and to set the pace of today's match.
Metropolis is a map that often gives us very long games. It's a pretty big map. It's got 4 starting locations, 2 island bases that are hardly ever taken, but you do have the occasional game with island bases. I don't think we're going to see that in a Protoss versus Terran, but in a Team League, man, anything is possible, especially on this map. This map has shown great games in the past. And often this map leads to the longer ones. You know, even though Atlantis Spaceship, for example, is big, so is Whirlwind, the games on those maps just do not quite have the dynamic that Metropolis has. Metropolis is one of those bigger maps I feel that produces really exciting and long games, but not necessarily always long. You see oftentimes a lot of Zealot run-bys on this map at the Terran's third base, as it is a little bit exposed.
The thing about Tacita is, by the way, that in this GSTL season he did really well against Terran so far. He defeated Jinro, he was able to take down Tasia when they faced Team Liquid. Now they're up against FXO though, and we are heading into the first game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the GSTL. We are going to have a look at Enes Hosa's first player. We are going to see Tacita up against Gumi. And starting to the left side of the map in the red, we have our Enes Hosa player. It's the Protoss called
Enes Hosa
Tassadar.
I would be really careful, Street Fighter boys. You don't cut off the Russian mobster.
No, man. I'd be so careful about that. You see how he just looked at you right then? That was you, man, he was looking at.
No way.
Over the top of the map in the blue from the team FXOpen, it is the Towel Terran, otherwise known as
FXO Gumiho.
I definitely think when it comes down to Tacita and what we just talked about Team Mobster, there are so many guys out there with Photoshop skills. We need a couple of really good pictures of this guy.
Yeah, I really want you guys to tweet at Proximal, tweet at Caldor, show us those, because I would love to see. I bet someone's already done it, man, before you could even say that.
And of course, once again, the dedicated observer for our game today is a Legend on Team Star Hill. And I realize this every single time when I cast solo, when I do online cast. It is just so much harder if you have to commentate and, well, control the screen at the same time. So having a dedicated observer like Legend is actually priceless. So big props and a shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Adabeezy as well. I want to give him some credit because this guy does a great amount of observing at foreign events and does a great job at that as well. A lot of people probably know who he is, but if you don't, definitely give him some credit because his observing is absolutely fabulous. And we are going to have a 2 racks play from Gumiho. The first barracks has been proxied. The second one is in the main base. Now the first one, based on its location, can easily be lifted back into the main base if there's an emergency or if he no longer wants to continue rallying Marines out of there. This is basically designed to punish a greedy Nexus. And if there's no greedy Nexus, it's not going to be too bad for him. He can just fall back to an expansion build. Now the probe will come in here actually right as the barracks finishes, but since he's going to see that it has not completed yet, he's going to know that something is up here. This is not normal. The barracks is way too late. His core is almost done, so he knows there's a second barracks somewhere on the map.
But he should be fine here nonetheless. He's not starting with the Nexus first here, any kind of those shenanigans. He's currently getting a cybernetic score. And, well, with Tacita, he has a pretty solid record against Terran. The thing is, all of his records, because he does not have the exposure as other players do, so his record is not really that easy to judge. He has a 40% win ratio against against Terran, but I feel that he's stronger than that. I think this is a little bit misleading, but just my personal impression. On the other hand, we have Gumiho, and he is playing in his best matchup here. Against Protoss, he really shines. He has a 60% win ratio, 40 wins and 27 losses, doing really well in this matchup.
Yeah, he's a tough opponent for Tassadar to have to face here. Tassadar, by the way, did not skip his Zealot, and as such, with his first Zealot and Stalker, he can kind of punish this Marine presence on the map. If he catches them, he's looking around for him right now. He's occupied the Watchtower. He does not actually find those Marines, so he's not going to be able to do that. As the Marine count gets higher, he will not actually be able to attack them with this small of an army. Command Center halfway done right now as the Nexus is just starting. No second gas yet for our Protoss player either. But the Watchtower is something that both players are trying to occupy right now. Neither of them really wanting to commit too much to attacking there for fear of losing hit points, losing units.
I like the position here. With the close air, there's always the potential of just sending a couple of dropships over to your opponent's base. Also, well, for example, the Protoss player with the War Prism can do a lot of damage here. So I really like this, especially if this turns out to be a game where we see the late game. This still offers you a couple of opportunities to maybe turn the tides of battle, even if you're behind, to start a comeback. So, pretty nice. Oh, but this is a problem. Look at that.
Huge mistake losing that Stalker. task.
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. I mean, it was a good position for Gumiho. He actually was on top of the ramp, so the vision was a bit of a problem for Tassadar here, but approaching like this, well, he didn't see the Marines, and he ran right into the trap. Well done by Gumiho, very nice, well positioned.
Yeah, and with that many Marines, no matter what, even if you see it, as you get to the top of the ramp and try to pull back, you'll lose your Stalker, so that was an unfortunate situation there for Tassadar, but he is going into a pretty normal follow-up here, going 2 gates before robotics. When you see the command center, that's usually the better way to go. It allows you to put on some pressure, and also if your opponent does one of those 1 Rax expands or 2 Rax expands into 5 or 6 barracks, that crazy Marine attack can be quite difficult to hold if you have that fast robo. Stim is on the way, and he's got the starport follow-up coming in here, so he will likely start using some of those 2 medevac pushes, and then eventually elevating into the main, doing some of that drop play you mentioned before.
This is really dangerous for a Protoss player. Most Protoss figured, of course, by now out when exactly those dropships are going to hit, but it still poses a big threat to the main base of any Protoss. If you are not map aware and suddenly you have 2 dropships unloading Marines and Marauders in your main base, the sheer DPS with the help of Stim is so brutal that within seconds you can lose a Nexus, you can lose a huge amount of your probes, so you have to be very, very careful. Place a couple of pallets on the edge of your base so that you at least have something that gives you an idea before the damage is actually done.
Yeah, actually, I'm starting to wonder what, I might get a smile on my face, because I think that we may see some Blink Stalker play here, and not just for defending drops. The Twilight Council is pretty fast, just the 3 gateways. Look at this, scouting Hellion. He actually fails to force field him. And this is going to be really huge if he sees the Twilight Council. And he absolutely will. He sees it.
Yeah, he will see the Twilight Council. He knows it. And this was definitely an oversight by Tassadar. He did not see the Hellion fast enough. Couldn't block his ramp. The force field too late. Actually resulted in trapping his own units on the low ground. He had to warp units into the main base in order to deal with the Hellion. But all that his opponent wanted to do, all that Gumiho tried to achieve, was get some information about what exactly he's doing here.
Yeah. Fast robotic support bay coming out here from Tassadar now. It looks like he wants to hit a 2-base attack with the Blink Stalkers. He can do so much with this. And this is going to be scary. It's not going to be the attack. I thought he might start using the Stalkers to kind of maneuver around his opponent's base, keep him on the defensive while those drops are floating around. And, you know, of course, you can use the Blink Stalker play to help shut down the drops as well. But this is going to be a really big attack off of 2 bases. And if the attack seems like it's not going to work, or if it's starting to look a little bit weak, he can make a 3rd base and use those Colossi to defend. But with the 3 additional gateways coming up right now, it does not look like 3rd base is on the menu.
And well, while we have the 3rd base building for Gumiho, he also starts with the drop player that we mentioned earlier. Blink is done though, so if Tassadar spots this early, he can actually lay a trap for his opponent. Just wait until he is in a position with his medivacs that he can blink beneath them and take them out before they actually drop the Marines and Marauders.
A lot of micro going on here for Gumiho, taking out that Zealot. He's not sent his drops in yet. It almost appears that he wants to wait until the Protoss army moves out, and when he sees that with his Hellions, then he'll go in with the drops as like kind of a backstab move, because like you said, he can set traps with his Blink Stalkers, and if the Stalkers are in position to defend, this drop will never work. So he wants to bait the army out first, and right now he's actually pulling some of these Zealots here. Good force fields this time though. Oh, nicely done, pulling that Hellion, and he has to use 4 force fields though for 2 Hellions. He really wants to go for that backstab drop, and unfortunately he hasn't had the opportunity yet. Even the factory is in the spot to see if there are units in position, and he will see that.
Yeah, he floats in and he spots the Stalkers right away. Starts to retreat here. And at the same time, of course, with the timing that he tries to hit, that Tassadar tries to hit, he is cutting the production of probes. He doesn't get any additional workers, whereas Gumiho, being on 3 bases, of course, produces a lot of SCVs here, and this will result in him having a little bit less army supply than his opponent. If he's able to defend against Tassadar's push, though, he will be in a great position.
Yeah, that's basically what this game may be decided by, as right now there are no Vikings in production just yet. He has no Vikings out on the map, a total of 4 dropships. 1-1 is finishing here. That's going to be something that's going to help him out. Armory timing quite nice as well. It's going to really line up with 2-2. This probe wants to get a pylon up over here, but he will have no such luck as he has been completely spotted by this Marine.
The army supply is currently already in favor of Tassadar, and his extended thermal lance just finished for his claw side. The dropships are trying to take a different path right now, and there are mostly Marauders in those 2, and that could be a problem for Tassadar. if they hit the main base, but at the same time, those units will miss when he has to defend, when Gumiho has to defend his bases now, because Tacita is on the move. He already gets the Templar Archive as a follow-up. He has still the Stalkers in the main base. He needs to blink on the low ground and catch up with his army. I'm not quite sure if he really plans on attacking without the Stalker support at all.
Well, you know, he's going to take out this factory. Unfortunately for him, the armory was already completed, as mentioned before. It looks like Gumiho, just with the information the factory gave him, with that many Stalkers being out of position, makes him feel comfortable that his opponent's not going to push now. But now, he is in fact pushing. He has not seen this yet. The drop is being unloaded. One drop on the bottom, and he's got the 2 drops at the north as well.
But the thing is that right now we have 92 army supply against 90, and here comes the NS Hosa player, and Gumiho has so many units out of position. Of course, he can counterattack right now, but this is a lot of units that are missing, and they won't be able to help him defend against this.
No, they certainly will not, and the Stalkers blink forward, take out the only Vikings that are on the map, but the counterattack that you mentioned is going to be so powerful. He is dropping about 4 medevacs worth of units in here, and there's no answer back at home for the Protoss. He's pulled his probes, and we are going to have a base trade. Storm is almost done, but it's not quite there.
And this is actually a great situation right now for Tacita, because he can fight this army of his opponent and can take those units that are defending a part, and then has to face the other part of the Terran army later on. But right now he's down in supply, and by quite a huge margin. Needs to be still a little bit careful here. Tries to pick off one of those orbitals. The army supply is currently in favor of Tacita, but he lost all of his probes except for one.
Yeah, he knows about the third base, but he has not attacked it. He starts at Nexus at the natural of Gumiho, so he will not be revealed. And the storms that I mentioned earlier, they're ready, but he does not really do any damage here. The medevac healing is too much. He will lose this Archon, and that was kind of his last-ditch defensive group of units.
Don't be fooled by the overall supply here, ladies and gentlemen. We currently have one single probe for Tacita, and this is enough to build another Nexus, and this is exactly what he does right now. This is the one last surviving probe that he has, and Gumiho still has a lot of worker supply that won't be able to assist him in the next fight. Here comes the Protoss player once again. Tacita on the move, taking apart base number 3 of his opponents, and in the main base still a few Stalkers and Zealots left.
Yep, they are doing what they can. The upgrades, by the way, did finish for our Terran player Gumiho at 2-2. And this is not going to be something that Tassar wants to face. He needs to fight the army. If they're going to clash, he needs to have everything together. Double starports going down for Gumiho right now, and I think we're going to see tech labs on those. Right now, there are 2 observers out, and we may see Cloak Banshees, because Cloak Banshees are almost... most people consider them to be the most valuable units to have in a base trade. This command center is going to be saved.
It's actually intense. I tries to save it. Will it? It still burns. It's still... No! He's able to pull it off. Is he? No! No! Ah, no, it will die. The command center will most likely die. Another command center to the bottom right was taken out by the Stalker. So this means that right now there's only one left for the FXO... for the FXOpen player. And, well, if you look at things right now, the army supply is about even. We have a great composition for Tacita, and he has this space. And he needs a few pylons on the map. But at the same time, his opponent is still on good terms with his supply. Here
he
comes
killed
the
an observer. And that is really important now.
So
there's only one left. And he will definitely go Cloak Banshees as soon as he gets the opportunity to. Right now, the last observer, I'm trying to find it.
I really like that he used the energy on his orbitals in order to get the extra supplies on the supply depots that he used. They built on the... at the, what is that, the 6 o'clock position. That was really very, very smart. And he actually saves the second orbital as well. This is so important right now.
He's probably going to take the island as well. Yeah. It looks like, I mean, he's, with the positioning of this SCV here, he can just scan and kill the tumor. Viking production has started actually first before Banshees. He doesn't really have, I mean, he's not going to have Cloak in time just yet, so he needs to start this first.
But the island expansion is great for Gumiho. This is so important. If he takes down the tumor, if he uses a scan here, this would be the best thing that he could do right now. This gives him a lot of time.
Yeah, and there's no way for Tassar to attack that island expansion, and he will not have any opportunity for this for a long time. And he's basically going to have that base forever. I mean, Tastar doesn't even have a gateway. He can't make a cybernetics core. Robotics is out of the question.
He's trying to get pylons in here because he knows that he has to start building a few probes, but this is not going to be easy. And currently, the army supply is in favor of Gumiho as he's building additional Vikings, and he has the perfect counter against his opponent's build.
Yeah, and he has the upgrade advantage as well. Tastar going for a last-ditch attack here, and I don't think this is a battle that he can win if he takes it.
The problem is he has no other choice. He has to fight. Gumiho did not take the island expansion to the top left. Instead, he moves his command center now to the left side of the map. There's still an observer. And of course, Tessida knows that there are too many bases for his opponent. He needs to do something. But he's up against the Vikings. Nice blink with the Stalkers here. But suddenly they are facing the Marauders and the Marines. The force fields are not too shabby. But it's not going to be enough. He's
not going to be enough.
Too fast in supply. This DPS is something he can't match.
He cannot match it. The armor is too much. GG. Great positioning there by Gumiho as well. There was not really a lot that Tassadar could do in the late game there. When you're facing a Terran who has orbitals, he saves them, he continues his production. The Vikings are really critical there, but just in general, like you said, I like the choice to use energy on call down supply so he could start that production so quickly. That's something that Tassadar simply could not do. He needed to make so many pylons. He only had the one probe, as you mentioned, as well. Great late game choice there by Gumiho, making all the decisions necessary to take that first game.
He just proved that he is really strong against Protoss, and Tassadar played well, but still Gumiho just got the better of him. Great decisions here. Just talks about the details with his team, and of course they are eager to know who he is going to face next. But I think we're going to have an interview, don't we?
Well, we will have an interview fairly soon, but it's going to be when we come back from a 5-minute break. So first, we're going to see a player, then we go to break so you guys can think about the player in the map. Then we have the interview. That's going to be the way of things here at the GSTL. And
what do you think is going to be next?
Yeah,
that's one of our Zergs?
No, I don't think so. Not first. Not yet. If we do, I think it'll be Freaky. I don't think they'll use Seal. They like to send Freaky out.
Have you seen him today? Because he wasn't on the bench earlier. Maybe he was a little bit late or he was at the bathroom. I don't know.
That is a good question, actually.
I think we are probably going to use the break in order to make sure that we know if Freaky is going to participate at all today. And, well, if he's not here, then they have only Seal that they can rely on when it comes down to the Zerg lineup. So
I don't think we're going to see another Protoss. Not right now. Not Sage, not San. It may be a time where we can see Jakji. They used Jakji earlier before to take out Terrans, and they may do that again. Something that's possible. I prefer saving Jakji for later, but you remember Sculpt is also an option. So that's something that we may see. I think if we see a Terran, it's going to be Sculpt and not Jakji, but Jakji is possible, and the wait is over.
Yeah, we're going to find out right now who the next NS Hosa player is.
I'm actually so surprised they're going to use Seal right now. But Seal is the only player today wearing the jacket. And this could signify that he is well prepared. Either that or he just doesn't like the t-shirt.
The coach is like, are you prepared? And he's like, yes, okay, you wear the jacket today.
Yeah. Either that or he's like, his coach doesn't think he's prepared. And he's like, listen, man, I'm wearing the jacket. All right?
He's cold.
That's crazy, actually, considering the weather that we have right
but
now.
It's air conditioned in here. It's actually not really all that warm in the studio.
That's a good point. Valid point. I agree with you there. Very rainy right now. It's the rainy season in Seoul.
Oh yeah, guys, you have no idea.
Taking a swig of that hot 6. Seal is not who I expected to see this early. His creep spread is going to be quite good. The map is a mystery. You guys can speculate about that. Post in the live report threads. Tweet at us. Tell us what you think, because we will not know until the break is over. That break will start now, so we'll see you in 5 minutes.
And I still be saved like a piggy bank on it and build me all that I couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't have been. I owe to the wouldn't